Hello everyone and welcome to my studio. I'm Karen from Sew and Save and we are doing our Fabulous Fabric Blocks Mystery. We are on month 3 and boy have we been having fun. The blocks are fabulous. Everybody's looks so great. In class we have 2 or 3 people who have the same fabrics. So it's really fun to see how they put their fabrics in different spots and how the blocks turn out so cool and so different. They're so much fun. So I hope you're having fun with this. Of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call, text, email. We're always happy to help you out with your blocks. Today we're going to go step by step through how to do the blocks. We'll be doing, each of these blocks have the hourglass block in them. So that'll be fun. I think by the end, I think you'll have those hourglass blocks down. You'll never forget how to do an hourglass block. But they're a lot of fun, and boy, they sure turn out different. So the first block we're going to work on today is the purple one that's up on top. This is my rendition of the block, and this is what Debbie's block looks like this month. Of course, she and I are using the same fabrics, but we're putting them in different spots in our block. So our blocks look very different, but both are pretty, and there are no right and no wrong blocks in this quilt. This is a very scrappy quilt, so I hope you've been having a chance to pull some things out of your stash and add in. I know a lot of the girls have been doing that, and it's been really fun. Our second block today is this kind of orange and teal block. This is my block, and then look how different Debbie's block is. I switched out this little triangle and put the same color as these little triangles in there, and it sure makes a difference. So pull your fabrics together, pick out your lights, your darks, your mediums, make sure that you have some contrast going on, and we're going to get started. So this is the first block that we're going to work on. This is Debbie's block, and I have all the pieces for my block right here. I'm going to go over the cutting instructions and what you need to cut and which piece goes where, because you know that you can put these pieces anywhere you want and make it look any way you want. So let's take a look at what you need to cut for this. I'm going to pull down just a little bit farther by me so that I can kind of point out what I'm doing and what Debbie did and how it's going to be different. So for your hourglass block, which is this block right here, so you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 hourglass blocks. Whatever fabrics you want to put in here, you are going to need 2 5.5-inch squares. So for this one, we have a 5.5-inch square of the white background. So whatever your background is, you're actually going to need 2, because each 5.5-inch square will help you make 2 hourglass blocks. So I need 2 of the white background pieces for that hourglass block. Then I need 8 2.5-inch squares. So those 2.5-inch squares will go in each corner. So there's 4. And then they will attach to this long piece here. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those, which gives me 8 2.5-inch squares. Then I'm going to need 2 3-inch squares. These 3-inch squares are going to make these half square triangles. So 1 square makes 2 triangles, or half square triangles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you need 2 squares to make 2. So that's my background for this one. Then the fabric that I'm going to put in this section here, and in the center, I'm going to put the purple in the center on this one. So it'll be really fun to see what that's going to look like. So I need, let me go start from the top on your instructions. Oh, yep, that would be the top. So I'm going to need 1 4-inch square for the center. So whatever fabric you're going to put in your center, you'll need a 4.5-inch square. Then you need 2.5 by 4.5-inch rectangles. Those are not cut bigger. They're cut to the size because they're going to go right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 of those. So whatever fabric you're going to put in there, you need 4 2.5 by 4.5-inch rectangles. Then I have 2 3-inch squares, because that's going to be the other side to that 3-inch square that we cut out in the background to make these half square triangles over here. All right, so that takes care of that color. Then the next one is this guy. This is the other part. I'm actually going to put this here on mine. Yes, right here where this purple is, I'm going to put these guys. So I need 2 5-inch squares to make my 4 hourglass blocks. So these are 5.5 to 5.5 to make the 4 hourglass blocks. Now this purple is going to go where Debbie, or this purple blue is going to go where these purple and green blocks are. So for this one, because you have 2 parts of your hourglass is the same fabric, that means you're going to need, instead of 2 5.5-inch squares, you're going to need 4 to make your hourglass blocks. And as I put mine together, I will come back on and show you how that works, because you're going to make a half square triangle using this color and this color, and then you're going to use this color again when you do these 2. So you're going to make 2 half square triangles out of this and half square triangles out of this. Okie dokie. So that's what you need to cut. So kind of go back, put your fabrics out, think about what you want to do, and get cutting. And I'll be back in a second to show you how all my pieces came together and how to do this hourglass block so you get 2 colors here and 2 different colors here. So see you in a second. The first step in making this block was making this little corner piece, and we're going to make 4 of those corner pieces. To do that, I took my 2.5 by 4.5-inch rectangle and I added a 2.5-inch square on top, drew a line diagonally from corner to corner, stitched, flipped and pressed that seam toward my background piece. Okay, watch your picture. Your picture will show you exactly what direction to sew that. All of them are sewn exactly the same way. There's no right and left. So they all look exactly the same as you sew them. So make 4 of those. Then I made 4, oops, there he is, 2.5-inch half square triangles. You're starting out with 3-inch squares, so once you sew your half square triangle together, it will be a little bit bigger. Use your quilt in a day ruler and square it up to 2.5. Then I cut off my little dog ears because those bother me, and so I cut those off. At that point, I sewed my half square triangle to my background 2.5-inch square. So you can see how I've done that here. I pressed my seam toward my background. Now I'm simply going to sew this unit to that unit, and it becomes your beautiful side square. On this one, I pressed my seam toward my rectangle purple piece and press them all the same direction. And when you lay them out, they're going to be so nice. They're all going to fit together really nicely. So you'll make 4 of those. Now I'm ready to start working on my hourglass blocks. Now, if you remember, I told you to cut 2 5.5-inch squares of this, whatever this color is going to be, 2 of whatever this color is going to be, and 4 of this. So that's what I've done. So in mine, this dark blue is going to be where this purple is. So I've cut 4 of these squares. I put them together with 2 of these, which is going to be my purple there, and then I did 2 whites, which are going to be up there. So I'm going to get those all sewn. I'm going to sew those half square triangles, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to put them together to make the hourglass blocks. See you in a second. Now I have all 4 of my corner pieces done. Yay! They were fun and easy, weren't they? They look beautiful. Can't wait to put those all together when I'm done. So I'm going to set those aside, and now we're going to work on the hourglass pieces. Earlier in the video, I was Wrong in how many pieces, how many half square triangles you actually have to make. You don't have to make as many as I thought at the beginning. So Joe put a little correction at the bottom when I was talking about what you need to cut out. Your instructions are written correctly, so follow that. Just follow what was written. You'll be just fine. So this is what you need to do. You'll end up with 2 half square triangles of this color and the background. All right, so this color, whatever this is going to be in both of your half square triangles. So here's my blue and my background. That's going to go here and here. And then my other part of my hourglass block is going to be this color and this color. So my blue is going to go here and this color is going to go down here. So the blue appears in both of your half square triangles so that you can get that hourglass look over here. And I'm going to just kind of put these together so that you can see. So you'll have 2 half square triangles of each. All right. Each set is going to make 2 hourglass blocks, and I'll show you how that's going to work in a minute. So I made my half square triangles. I did not cut them apart. All right, I don't want to say I did not cut them apart. I did not trim them down to size. Leave them big. You want to leave them big. And then I'm going to line them up so that one of my blues matches my background and one of my blues match the other color. Line up your seam line, and then just like we did last month, you're going to draw a line diagonally through that seam, right through that seam, sew on either side, and when you open it up, it's going to look just like this. So this is how mine is going to look in comparison to the one that Debbie did. So because I had this color in each of those flying or half square triangle blocks, I ended up with this color on both sides. All right, so go and do those. You're going to make 1 set of flying geese. So you're going to use 1 background and one of your doubles and one of your doubles and this guy. So go make those, make your hourglass blocks. Then you'll use your Quiltin A Day half square triangle ruler to cut those down to 4.5 inches. You should have plenty of fabric to do that, and they're going to be beautiful. So I can't wait to see what yours are going to look like. See you back up here in a minute. Ta-da! I have my block done. So this is the one that Debbie did. This is the one that I did, and they're both beautiful. I love, love, love this block. Of course, I say that about every single one of these blocks because they're all just as spectacular as the next. So you can see again how by mixing your colors up, Debbie and I used the same fabrics, but we mixed them up differently in the block, and they both look great. So have fun with this block, and now you're ready to do your next block. So I'm going to take these down, and we're going to look at the next block. Those out of the way. This is the block that Debbie did, and mine still needs to be assembled. We got a little thread there. All right, so let's look at what we need to make this block. So here again, we have some hourglass blocks here. So we're going to make these just like we did for the last block, but we'll talk about that again. This is a little different, so that might scare you a little bit, but they're super easy. And again, we're making this little corner block bigger, and then we're going to trim it down using our Quiltin A Day half square triangle ruler. So let me go over the pieces and what you need to cut out. So the first thing we're going to cut out are 2 5.5-inch squares. These 2 5.5-inch squares are going to end up being cut in half diagonally, and you're going to use them over here in these corner squares. Okay. Then you're going to have 4 2.5-inch squares, and they're going to be used right here. Now this is where Debbie and I part ways. So to make your hourglass block, I'm going to take this piece. This is one, you're going to take 1 5.5-inch square, and I'm going to put mine here on my block. Alrighty. Then you're going to go to the next color, and I have 1 5.5-inch square. I'm going to do this really different this time. Instead of having white up here, I'm going to have this color up here. Okay, so I need 1 5.5-inch square. Then I'm going to take a 3-inch square. I'm going to actually take 4 3-inch squares and cut them in half diagonally, and those are going to be used here. So my color is going to go here and here. So it's really going to make this block look a lot different than Debbie's, and I think it's going to be really, really fun. Then I'm going to use this fabulous orange color, and those are going to go right in here. So I'm going to have the green in here, the orange is in here, and this guy is going to be up. This one is going to be up here, 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 and here. And then again, I'm going to use this in the center for my 4.5-inch square. Okay, so I'm going to start putting things together and come back and show you how this needs to be done. Before I start sewing my hourglass blocks together, I just wanted to go over one more time how to line these up. So my orange fabric is going to be where Debbie's green is. So I'm going to be making 2 sets of half square triangles, and the orange is going to be in both sets. So I have 1 square of those, then I matched it up with my other 2. So this one with the orange and this is going to be up here. So I'm going to have color where this white is. So I have 1 half square triangle with these 2. And then my green is going to be down here, and my orange like this is going to be here. So I have 1 with the orange and then 1 with the green that I'm going to do. So I have my lines drawn. I'm going to make 2 half square triangles, and then we're going to put them together and make our hourglass blocks. So I've made both sets of half square triangles. Easy peasy, just as fun as can be. Remember, do not cut these down. Keep them the size that they are. So you can see that each set has the orange in, because that's the one that's going to go here and here. So now when I sew these together, I'm going to match up the orange with the green and the, I don't know, this going with this one. Alrighty, and I will sew, or I will draw my line diagonally right through my seam, sew on both sides when I cut it apart, and make a half the hourglass block. It's going to end up looking like this. Ta-da! So this one is actually going to kind of go this way on my block. So really different than Debbie's. So once you do this, then you want to trim these down to 4.5 using your Quilt in a Day half square triangle ruler. So I'm going to work on these, show you what these look like when I get done, and then we're going to start working on this corner block. Well, those hourglass blocks are starting to go together pretty fast, aren't they? Are you getting the hang of it? They're so fun, they're awesome, and they really go together a lot easier than you think they do once you figure out how they work. So once you've gotten those done, so these are my 4. Isn't it interesting how different those look because of the batik and the coloration of the batik? So I can't wait to get my block together and see how that's going to look. The next part of our block that we're putting together is this little corner piece right here. This piece, this always kind of makes people nervous. What we want is to have a nice V right here, and we want this to be nice and straight. So let me show you how to do that. You're going to start out with your 2.5-inch square, and then those 3-inch squares that we took and cut in half diagonally to make triangles. You will line up your first triangle with kind of the right angle of your triangle with the right angle of your square. Sew that on. So it looks like this. Then you're going to do the same thing with another triangle. You're going to put it over in this corner, matching up the right angle of your triangle with the right angle of your square. Stitch that on 1/4 inch. I pressed these open, so this is nice and flat, because you're going to get to this little point right here, and there's a lot of seams kind of connecting. So I like this to be nice and flat. Now when you look at this, you can see that from this point down to the edge of your fabric is more than 1/4 inch. That's a good thing, because usually they're either too short. This line here gets a little kitty wampus, because this is all at kind of a bias seam right here. So we want to square this off nice so we get 1/4 inch from this point to the edge of the fabric and make this nice and straight. To do that, I use my Creative Grids 6.5 by 12.5 inch ruler. You can see I always call it the TP. It's this little TP that goes right here. There are two 45-degree angles that intersect right at 1/4 inch from the edge of the ruler. That's what we're going to line up with this point right here. So we have our 45-degree V here, our 45-degree V here, and this point's going to line up with that point. We're going to trim right across, and that way from the point to the edge of our fabric will be 1/4 inch. And you can look at mine and you can see that when I sewed mine together, it's not perfectly straight under that ruler, and there's just a little bit that you can nip off of there and make everything nice and straight and flat. So now you can see over here on this one that I have already done that. That's what you're looking for. So you're going to do that on all 4 of those. Then you're going to attach your white triangle corner or your background triangle corner. Mine is white, yours might be a different color. You're going to take this, you're going to put it right sides together and line up the edge that you just trimmed. You can see that your white or your background fabric is larger than your little triangle that you just trimmed down. That's okay, because you're going to trim all of this up when you're done. You'll sew this at 1/4 inch along the bottom, and then use your Quilt in a Day half square triangle ruler to square it up to 4.5. So I'm going to finish these up. I will have one lined up and ready to trim off so you can see how that works in a minute. So I have my corner squares all sewed together. Look at how perfect those little points are. Yours will be just that perfect when you use this method of making these squares. Blocks that come out perfect the first time, lots and lots of fun. So here is what my block looked like before I trimmed it down. The white, this white part is larger than this part. So now we have to trim it down to make it all even. And I just left my ruler way over here. So let me reach for it. I used my very worn out Quilt in a Day half square ruler. I've used this many, many times. I'm going to line up the red 4.5 inch dotted line on the line that I sewed, and I can't do this back upside down and backwards from here, but we're going to line that 4.5 inch dotted line on the line that you sewed, not the edge of your fabric, but the line that you sewed, and then trim off that white, press it toward the white, and your blocks will look just perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm excited to trim this one down, then I can sew my whole block together. Can't wait to see it. My block is all done, and wow, what a difference just changing out this piece of fabric and taking the white out and putting in this color makes in the block. So on here, the white draws your eye all the way around the block, and on here, this orangey, teal, and blue brings your eye all the way around the block. So really different. It's really fun to see how people put different fabrics in different spots and the blocks still look just fabulous. So I hope you had fun with these blocks today. If you have any problems, questions, you need any help trimming something down, don't hesitate to call or ask or stop in the store. We're always willing to help you. So until next time, have fun quilting. Bye.